What's up, guys? If you're not subscribed, please subscribe. Also, please smash that like button on the video and enjoy the show. I think anytime when you look throughout history where there's innovation, that is always a question that comes up. I'm not saying that means just do it no matter what. Every time, I think you kind of have to evaluate things as they come. But we are getting to a point now where, you know, science is starting to bend the rules, if you will, and it's certainly a gray area. But have you seen this guy, Brian Johnson?
Yes, have I seen?
All right,
Brian
now
Johnson?
what do you think of what he's doing?
Look, I don't know why people get upset with him. He's got a lot of money. He can do whatever he wants with it. He wants to live a very long life, and he's doing that's his thing to do. Crazy crap on your side. That's not the way that I want to live. You know, he's got this seat that he sits on to improve his erection time, right?
It's a seat.
It's a seat that lights up and it vibrates. I don't know what it does. I was just like, what? I don't know why he wants to do that, because I don't know. He mentioned that he's not having sex because he does. I don't know what he's doing, but like
there's a lot going on.
There's a lot going. So he's doing crazy things. He looks good.
Yeah,
he feels good.
For people out there that need context, he's a former tech entrepreneur who made billions of dollars, right? Yeah. So what was he? Was he Venmo? I forget what he was. He was something, but he's trying to.
He retired and he's like, I've got all this money. What do I do? Well, let me reverse my age or let me live longer. But he's doing it in the most craziest way possible. He's got like a team of doctors, scientists. He's doing regular blood work, but he's doing like things that are just like.
He feels like a lab rat when I look at it.
He is, yeah.
Like, hey, he can do what he wants, like you said. If it makes him happy, great. But Leslie, can you pull up a before and after? Before, after, and after of Brian Johnson.
And like the regimen, he's like, there's something to be said as well of just like happiness. If it's making him happy, like I don't know how happy one can be living this life that is so constrained.
I agree 100%. But I mean,
do you think it's feminized him?
Totally.
It has totally feminized him.
Why is that? Why does he look feminine there? Which he looks like a female.
Yeah,
Maybe it's the outfit as well and the hair.
I've thought that as well. Doesn't he
look better in 2018?
He looks better from a masculine perspective for sure. Yes. But like when he goes through the results, like his biomarkers and stuff like that, I mean, I don't want to say it offhand what it is, but he has de-aged effectively, like a
de-aged.
Yes, a decent, meaning you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Like his biological age according to his markers is now way lower.
Can I just tell you that there is really no scientific validity around that? I mentioned that earlier. You can get a biological age test done, and it's just a calculation of certain biomarkers. Like they'll look at your lipid panel. They'll go to a few different things. They'll put it in a calculator, and they'll say, okay, well, yeah, you've got the biological. I did mine. I had the biological age of 27. Am I 27? No. And I've spoken to longevity scientists, ones who are actually looking at longevity, and they believe
Gary Brecka. She just
I wanted to go an entire day without mentioning his name.
Oh, we'll get there.
No, what's his name? He actually was one of the ones who studied NAD, but we won't go into it. But they even said to me, they said, Louisa, you are the age that you are. Like,
well, I mean, mathematically,
I could go and stuff up that biological age, right, of 27. Let me just go and eat ultra processed foods for the next 3 months. What I've just aged 8 years.
Yeah, but like, you ever see look at? I mean, it's a horrible thing to say, but think of like a 60-year-old guy, you know, who looks old and terrible, right? And then think of like Brad Pitt, who's almost, what's he, like 55? Something 60. Like that? Is he 61? Yeah. Okay. He is not the same age as that other person. Brad Pitt was just in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood 4 or 5 years ago. The guy's still fucking jacked and everything. Looks great, looks younger because I guess he works hard at what he does. And then you got the guy who's going to the pub after work every day and, you know, sitting at a desk under fluorescent lights and looks like, you know, he's 10 years from death. So you can't tell me mathematically you can't change it. Math is math, but they're both 60 in that case. But you can't tell me the biological age on Brad Pitt is the same as guy who can be dead soon.
I guess so. I do believe that. I mean, like, I do believe that there is something to be said of slowing down your age. When I talk to actual scientists in this field, they tell me, Louisa, there's, yes, biological age, but it's not the be all and end all, and it's not 100% valid. But scientifically proven.
It's the underlying things that go into it, though, because like if you looked at the blood work of Guy 1 and the blood work of Brad Pitt.
But where are they determining it, right?
What do you mean?
So when we do a brain scan and we can figure out your brain age, right? I can scan the brain, which is what we do, and we come back and we say to these guys, "Oh, you're 42, but you've got the brain age of someone who's 60 years old." Where am I deriving that from? It's coming from a normative database, meaning that they took scans of millions and millions of people and they put them through an algorithm. They say, well, according to these scans, this is what a healthy brain looks like at 25. And so then they plot it against that, and it's based on a normative database. The one that we use is called the Loretta normative database. Is that what they're doing with biological age? Are they just getting a bunch of 25-year-olds and saying that this is what a 25-year-old blood work looks like? Is that what they're doing?
I see what you're saying.
Do you see what I mean? So it's like, and then really, is that real? Because like in 20 years, that a 25-year-old's blood work might be different. And so it's just, there's just so much to consider that I just think that, and if you do focus on that, I had one woman who was so focused on that. She is 45. Her blood work came back as 57. And so not 57, sorry, no, 53. And she hated her life. She hated the world. It's just, it might be doing more damage than good.
Interesting.
Yeah, so.
Yeah, I got to look more into that. But, you know, you're talking in some themes today about some of the drawbacks of Western medicine, and we've seen that up close in society over especially the past 5 years with all the craziness that happened. But, you know, it makes me a little nervous that we've had people in trusted positions get things so wrong that now people's, understandably, society's trust is broken in entire institutions. I'm not necessarily talking about big pharma right now. I'm talking more about medicine in this case. So there was, you know, we bring up Gary Brecka. We should talk about him because you have some thoughts there. And we'll explain who he is in a minute. But there was a video of Dana White, the head of the UFC, who works with Gary on his health, where he said something. I'm going to paraphrase it because I can't remember what the exact quote was, but this might be the exact quote. He said something like, "I will never, ever, ever trust a medical doctor and go to a medical doctor to figure out my health again after what they did with the pandemic." They meaning now he's saying all of them. To which I immediately say, okay, so when you have a UFC fight and you have someone ringside next to the octagon, are they a medical doctor? Like, you know, so it's kind of double speak. But, you know, he has turned to someone like Gary, who is, I believe, not a medical doctor and has, you know, I guess focuses in his own way on biomarkers. And
he's not even a scientist.
Yeah, what is his background?
He's nothing. I don't know. He is a businessman. He was working in insurance and he was calculating I think it was like when somebody would die based for the health insurance policies, right? Based on blood work and based on how their risk profile. So he was predicting death, basically saying like, if we take you on our insurance, like he would give the insurance companies, yep, this guy, you know, he's going to probably live for the next 20 or 30 years, right? So he was looking at that. That was his. I don't know too much about him. All I know is that a lot of the things he says is so bad. It's so unethical and so illegal. He's just working with Grant Cardone. And Grant Cardone, we know, has made millions upon hundreds of millions of dollars in the real estate industry. Now he was like, let's attack the health industry because it's big right now. How do I make a lot of money? Gary knows how to talk. Gary just speaks out of his ass. He has no idea what he's saying. He contradicts himself every day. He says things are just so false. Like, for example, he openly said that the brain is a non-metabolic organ. The brain is the most metabolic organ.
Can you explain
in the
that
entire body
to people?
The brain uses metabolism. Like, it has an energetic component to it because it has brain cells. That's what our metabolism is, how it's utilizing energy, for God's sake.
So he doesn't think the brain utilizes energy?
No, exactly.
Based on what?
You tell me. So that's what he said. Well, I don't know. He also said, by the way, he said the reason why the All Blacks, do you know who the All Blacks are?
All Blacks?
Yeah, they're the national football team for New Zealand.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
So they do this dance, this historical
haka.
the haka, yeah. He said, after he said that the brain is a non-metabolic organ, he then went on to say that oxygen is life, and the reason why the Australian football team, the All Blacks, do the haka is to increase oxygenation to the brain. And it's like, first of all, Australia is not New Zealand.
That hit home
you
for
fool. Okay, that's just like me saying like Mexico is in America.
Hey now.
Okay.
Hey now. Come on.
Hey now. But like, so the thing is, not only did he get his geography wrong, but he also stated that this historical haka, the haka is a historical dance. It's got nothing to do with oxygenation to the brain.
They get some good energy in that thing, though.
Yeah, but they weren't thinking to ourselves, how do we get energy? So like just the little things that he says. And you know what? When you've got to think of somebody who is like it makes me emotional, because you think about somebody who thinks to themselves, like a mother who thinks, and I've been in surgery, the last surgery that I went into it was in Australia where I was helping the neurosurgeon, obviously. And the neurosurgeon said to me, this is going to be her last surgery. She's had 6 surgeries. She had a double mastectomy, breast cancer that has traveled to her spine. So we were going in, and she had a tumor on her spine that, he wanted to try and give her an extra 6 months of life. She is at the mercy thinking, I will do anything to stay alive for my kids. When you're at that stage of desperation, you are going to believe Gary Brecka. When you're at the stage of maybe you lost a parent, you don't want to get sick, you're at the mercy of Gary Brecka. So he's making so much money because everybody wants more life. Everybody wants life, and they don't know who to turn to because they don't have the education. They don't have the resources. They don't have the means. They don't have the people. So they just think Gary Brecka is going to save my life because he's great at marketing. And he says things that are so outrageous.
What else does he say that you find outrageous?
I mean, he lives and swears by the methylation test.
What is that?
It's saying that, I mentioned earlier that, I think it was around, don't quote me on the statistic, but around 40% of the population has this MTHFR gene, meaning that you can't methylate B vitamins. And he's going around saying it's the holy grail to health. Right. And so he's come up with this methylation test. Maybe it's around $800 or $900. And he tests these 5 different genes to see if you have those genes, which means that you won't be able to methylate certain vitamins. And therefore, if you can't, you're not going to get the nutrients you need to have a proper performing brain and body. And while there is truth to some of that, of course, there is so much more to consider than that.
Thank you for watching the video, guys. If you haven't already subscribed, please smash that subscribe button and check out this clip's full podcast episode by clicking here or in the description below.